Now, let's take a look at what's making the headlines on the papers around the world this morning. Well, this day leads with the margins of a consensus chairmanship for the major opposition political party in Nigeria, the PDP. It's Ayu. And right there, how Mark Chairman Nazif steps aside. Nigeria is worse than Somalia under APC, says new helmsman. Above the nameplate, Emefiele. Nigeria spends 40% of foreign exchange on importation of petrol. Others hinges floating the naira on Dangote refinery, petrochemical plant coming on stream, assures foreign investors of prioritized settlement. And of course, in that window story there, Inshore Force, Inspector General of Police deploys police Amanda for Anambra poll. Find out details of what exactly that means. And there are many other stories here. You can pick a copy of this day to find out more. The leading photograph for this day front page today is the presidential contenders meet in Ekiti. And there you have the governors of Lagos, Edo, the vice president, the governor of Kaduna, and the governor of Ekiti State.
Interesting photographs. Away from this day, let's take a look at The Nation. It's leading with this one. Oshibajo to governors, don't bang on monthly allocation. The vice president is urging states to drive their economies like sovereign nations. Fayemi Sanwo-Olu, Obaseki, El-Rufai seek favorable policing policy. The other headlines in The Nation. Anambra 2021. Police to deploy 34,587 officers, men, and 3 helicopters. The electoral body INEC says it's ready for improved poll. And here's this one. Over 2.5 million Nigerians fully vaccinated. National Assembly promises budget passage by December 16. That's another headline. That's on the page 7 of The Nation newspaper. And finally, the Nigerian Navy intercepts 32.9 kilograms of cocaine on vessel. That's on page 3.
More Nigerian dailies now. The Guardian newspaper is leading with the PDP, says Ayu's consensus pick as PDP chair stirs debate on zoning. Northern leaders adopt Ayu. Presidential ticket not zoned remains open, says Finton. And George kicks as Olafeso Babatope reserve comment. Also, National Convention, PDP extends date for sale of forms. Other headlines here. World Food Day. Conflicts push 12.8 million Nigerians to hunger. Nigeria, third of 15 African countries facing the greatest food insecurity. This is coming ahead of tomorrow, which is World Food Day. At the top of the Guardian newspaper this morning, 6 of every 7 COVID-19 infections undetected in Africa, says WHO. And also, Reps targets December 16 to pass 2022 budget, moves against borrowing. All this and more on the Guardian newspaper.
Well, those stories are recurring on the front page of The Punch this morning. It's leading with Ayu's emergence as chair. North gets PDP's nod to contest 2023 presidency. It was put in black and white that the North Central could contest, says Baraje. North can't produce president, chairman, same time, says George. And of course, another recurring story this morning is the National Assembly proposing December 15th for budget passage as it threatens the ministries, departments, and agencies in the country.
Well, for the press review, let's bring in Emmanuel Bello, who joins us from our outside studio. Good morning, Emmanuel. We're starting off with This Day newspaper, and the bold one there is Ayu emerges consensus PDP chairmanship candidate. I took a look at the name earlier, and I was asking Adesua and Nkechi, who is Ayu?
Okay, he's not a total stranger in the stratosphere of politics, and he's been there. He's been a lecturer. He's been and all of that. And you are right. You're even right to have asked who is he, because for a very long time, Ayu has not been in the story, and so you begin to wonder what informed this choice? What is PDP going for? Are they going for something new? Are they going back to the past? Do they want an intellectual? Do they want somebody who is combining, a professor who is combining both the intellectual bent and of course his political career as Senate President and all of that? He looks loaded. He's been in this terrain. He knows this game. This is not his first rodeo, like they will say. And so PDP is probably re-strategizing with this choice. But beyond that, it is also the issue of zoning, the fact that they're taking someone from the geographical north central or the middle belt. Maybe they're trying to make a statement with that. But the controversies are still there. With two sides now looking at the issue. Zoning is still open. The North can produce a presidential candidate, the PDP seem to be saying, while even other groups are saying no, the North should wait. This is both an assignment for the PDP to look into. I think the next few days as we go into the weekend, the issue of zoning is going to take center stage as more people weigh on the issue.
Manuel, well, more from this day newspaper this morning. CDS says 250 bandits neutralized after telecoms blackout in Northwest, 600 arrested. Says terrorists not amassing around FCT and Niger. It also confirms ISWAP leader Abu Musab al-Bawani is dead. And we also had a report from one of our correspondents, Nisi Gabriel, talking about the effect of this telecoms blackout in the Northwest, the effect of that on businesses. So now they're saying this telecoms blackout is, they're getting positive outcome from it, capturing and neutralizing some of the bandits. Meanwhile, people that are living there also complaining it's disrupting their lives, disrupting their business, disrupting their means of livelihood. Emmanuel.
Well, it's what will you call it? It's it's being between the deep blue sea and the devil, like they will say, and the government probably had no other choice than to have this blackout. But you're right. A lot of businesses, individuals, people can keep up with demands. They can you can't even get to your loved ones and others. Some people have to look for other parts of their cities to look for network and all of that. So and we know what a blackout is. I remember there was a few days ago when there was a little surge, what we all went through in terms of keeping up with our need to use the network. So yeah, but when you look at the gains as they're enumerating now and what they've done, you begin to wonder if it's not the sacrifice was not worth it. But by and large, we must find ways to see how we can deal with these situations, even while people are able to live their normal lives around issues of communicating with each other.
Manuel, let's look at the Punch newspaper. A couple of headlines there. The leading photograph of the Punch this morning, this was an event in Ekiti State yesterday. We saw the Vice President. He made a statement about states becoming creative on revenue generation. I'm sure that would generate some reactions. I wonder if you have a thought on that. But the Punch is also leading with IU's and margins. However, there's a story there. It says North gets PDP's nod to contest 2023 presidency. How is this supposed to pan out, Emmanuel? The PDP having the chairmanship and the presidency from the same region of the country? We've never really seen that done before, have we?
Not really, and that's going to be one of the issues that's going to generate a lot of talk as we go into the weekend, into next week. A lot of people are going to talk about that. Of course, the story too is not, the PDP is not saying any other part of the country is foreclosed or not allowed to produce a president, but they're saying it's open. There are people who think it's a wise move and a good one, where everyone is carried along, but there are people who are going to kick already, even the story, some people are already kicking against that a zone cannot, the North has produced the president in the last 8 years. PDP cannot actually just give it to him. And then the Osibanjo story is a good one. Very strong statements coming from the vice president saying that states should run like sovereign state. Look, he also spoke about Lagos, that when Lagos was denying the funds from the federal accounts. It looked inwards, and so it's actually telling states. I mean, and it's talks to all the story we've been doing about VAT and VAT collection and some people kicking. I think the Ekiti Summit brought out a whole lot of things that states should be able to run as independent countries, and to assume that tomorrow, if there are no checks to be given out at the end of the month, what's going to happen to them? And so those are a daunting story. The other day said only 5 or 6 states can live without revenues from this. From monies gotten from Abuja every end of the month. So that's worrisome, and Osibanjo is bringing that to the fore. And no better place to do that than Ekiti State at the summit, where, and kudos to Ekiti State for organizing a summit like that. States need to start doing more of that, thinking of running their states like businesses, making profits from whatever they have, and also looking inwards. And so the Vice President is making a push for that. The thing is a strong one.
Yeah, looking forward to states getting into healthy competition to see who can get their people to a good livelihood first. Speaking of running things, Anambra 2021, INEC says it's ready for improved poll. And the Supreme Court has just cleared Soludo as the APGA candidate.
Yes. Well, congratulations to Soludo. He's going to be in the race now. But I think the big story from Anambra is the deployment of the Armadas this day. Rightly put it. It's almost as if, it's not the first time we are seeing this kind of deployment. It's only that each time you see there are people asking questions that, are these policemen not needed elsewhere? Is that you are sending 3 helicopters? It's almost as if it's a war scene there. But if you look at the crisis on the ground and, the challenge the federal government is facing, even INEC chairman the other day crying out that, look, men and equipment are not safe in the Anambra Post, you begin to wonder if the IG or the federal government was right in sending those. But there are people who are still asking questions that why deploy 34,000 policemen to an election. There are people who say, well, that's a strategy. But others are saying that, look, these policemen, these helicopters, this armada is needed elsewhere at the theater of war. But because of our kind of fractious elections, of course, elections in Africa, especially out back home here, are almost like war at times. And so you have this heavy deployment. There are people talking about it already, and of course we're watching.
Well, quickly to the international scene. The Metro here, the big headline says, "Come save our bacon." Prime Minister's U-turn as EU meat workers are offered visas to avoid a pig call in the UK. And The Independent also has here, order your Christmas presents in November, Amazon warns shoppers. Amid all the shortage crisis, Emmanuel, what kind of Christmas holiday are they going to have in the UK?
And I think we've been seeing stories again all around the issue of Christmas, with Boris Johnson actually one time saying that his biggest job right now is to save Christmas. And now they are asking people to come over to, maybe, Kenneth, we should take the challenge to go to the UK and become butchers, pig. So, I mean, this is so important to them, and I think it's important to how Christmas is such a huge industry there, with Amazon already asking shoppers to shop early, and the economy around the Christmas not to suffer the issues of truck, the issue of shortages, and all of that. I think for Boris Johnson, this seems to be, for him, a test of leadership to see how, to put it in his word, how to save Christmas.
A few weeks away, so we'll keep an eye on the UK. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Bello. That's our press review here on Daybreak.